Following the announcement that the Royal Rumble winner Roman Reigns chose to face CM Punk at this year's WrestleMania, I decided to ask my followers over on Twitter now X what matches they expect to see. These are the responses. Our first response is from Corey B. Wrestling, who said, "This more hope than expectation, but I need to see Bianca Belair back versus Jade." I have to agree, with the way her reign has been booked. The only person I can see dethroning Jade is Bianca, who has been out for such a long time, but has yet to return. This, or Jade versus Jordynne Grace, I think, is the women's championship match. Next up is Luis, who says El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match. Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar, and Ilya versus Carmelo. I definitely think we are seeing the El Grande versus El Grande match with both masks on the line. Feels like the most obvious Mania match, but it will be a fun one nonetheless. With Brock versus Oba, I also think this is a shoe-in following their Rumble face-off. I do believe this will also be Brock Lesnar's final WrestleMania match. I'm going to disagree with Ilya versus Carmelo Hayes. We have seen this matchup multiple times on SmackDown. I do think they will be involved in a match together. I feel like it will be a multi-man matchup for the United States Championship. From Undisputed Pro, Liv versus Stephanie, Jade versus Charlotte, Drew versus Gunther, Cody versus Fatu, and Braun versus Seth. Liv versus Stephanie. I am going to agree with following Stephanie beating Raquel on Raw. Jade versus Charlotte, I don't see. I think Charlotte will be involved with the tag scene. Drew versus Gunther, I don't see happening with both being heels. I think we have Jacob and Cody involved with Drew as a triple threat. Braun versus Seth feels like it should happen if Seth is back in time. Techo Reviews agrees with the point I made briefly about Drew versus Cody versus Jacob happening. Oba Fatu Era agrees with Liv versus Stephanie and Jordynne versus Jade, but says Drew versus Cody and Jacob versus Randy. Drew and Cody shouldn't happen again for a long time since they had a 3 stages of hell match at the start of the year and feels like the climax of their rivalry. Randy versus Jacob would be a fun match and would be great for the pair, but at this moment, I don't see it happening. Roxanant says Bianca or Tiffany versus Jade, Drew vs. Jacob, Kyrie versus Asuka, Rhea and Io versus Bellas, Dom versus Penta, and Randy versus KO or Cody. But does agree that Braun faces Seth, Stephanie faces Liv, and Brock faces Oba. Drew versus Jacob one-on-one, I don't see happening in all honesty. I think Rhea and Io do defend their titles in a multi-team match with the Bellas involved. Dom versus Penta would be a banger, but I'm leaning towards Finn being Dom's opponent. And like Gunther, I have no clue what Randy does at Mania this year.